Hey everybody, so it is about 1:30 a.m. on Thursday, June 16th, and I can't really sleep, still super pumped for Glowing Man that's coming out tomorrow, I guess now, since it's past midnight. But anyway, I thought that I'd take the time to discuss another post-rock band, not that Swans can really be called post-rock, but to discuss another favorite band of mine, who I've got plenty of things to say about, and that would be Godspeed You Black Emperor. Now, obviously, most people have heard their early work, Slow Riot for New Zero Canada, F Sharp, A Sharp, Infinity, and obviously Lift Your Skinny Fist Like Antennas to Heaven. But kind of what I want to do today is compare their early work to what they've been releasing recently. The albums Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress, and also to some extent Alleluia Don't Bend Ascend. So the first thing that I noticed that's very apparent is in Godspeed's early work, it seemed like everything that they were doing was very deliberate. Like they knew exactly how long to make certain drones, they knew which field recordings would be interesting to use in their music. They knew how to do excellent build-ups and to have them be catchy enough that the repetitiveness doesn't get boring. But somewhere along the way, and it was obviously probably in that 10-year hiatus that they took, they kind of lost their compass for when it came to how long they should make certain parts of their music, whether certain things were interesting, and just if the music even had any meaning to begin with. It seems like in the recent years, they've kind of been looking for artificial meaning in music. Like, they figure, if you just slap some artwork on there that's not at all related to the music, that you can call it art and, have people come up with some crackpot theory about how the two are connected, or the themes that are trying to be established, by having it be like that. So anyway, let me get into more specifics. I didn't learn about Godspeed really until probably about a year before Asunder Sweet came out. And I obviously started with their early work, and I really, really liked it a lot. I started listening to everything they produced. But the first little speed bump when it came to enjoying the band was on when I first listened to Alleluia Don't Bend Ascend, because half of that album were 2 drone tracks. It was only 4 tracks long, which is fine because most Godspeed records are very short in the number of tracks that they have. But when about half of your composition is just drone, and not even well-made drone for that matter. I mean, if you want to look at well-made drone, I forget the name of it, but it's like Rave Death 1975. I might have that year wrong, but that was a really good drone album, because the drones were interesting, they still had some faint amount of melody to them, something to keep you listening to them. But in the case of Godspeed, it's almost like they got their idea of how to use drones from performing in live concerts. I actually got to go see them live last year in September, and that's probably the first thing that I noticed, which is that the drone tracks that they use in their albums, it seems almost like the reason they use them is so when they're performing live material, they can have a small break to change out instruments and stuff while they don't have to put much effort into the music that's currently being played. So it's kind of like a seamless transition thing, but that seamless transition is 8 minutes long. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that aspect of Alleluia Don't Bend Ascend, and then when I found out that they had released Asunder Sweet, I was really excited for it, but then I realized that it's basically a rehash of Alleluia Don't Bend Ascend, because, once again, it had 2 lengthy tracks that were supposed to be the bulk of the album, the part that actually had the melody, that had the progression, and then it just had 2 tracks kind of jammed in there that seemed to just be a really, really long, lazy transition that made it take up about 40 minutes, enough to make it an quote-unquote album. So yeah, I'm really disappointed with Godspeed's later work. It just seems that they've kind of fallen into generic post-rock where it's pretentious for no reason, or where people dig too deep to find meaning, or where people just try to defend legitimately bad music. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of their late work. But I must say that Lift Your Skinny Fist is my favorite album of all time. I love their early work, and I just pray to God that they don't lose that initial spark in their later releases, if they even plan to stay together. Alright, thanks for watching. This one was way shorter than the Swans rant, but I'm still glad that I got to talk about it. Alright, see ya.